Hello, welcome back to the little Welsh cottage on a very sunny day. Now, my shed is coming tomorrow, so I'm not going to the allotment today, but I am going to the allotment shed because I want to get some bamboo canes so I can set up some runner beans in the back garden. So the allotment site where I wanted to go and buy my bamboo canes, their shop is closed. So I've actually ended up back at my allotment site. So seeing as I'm here, I may as well go and have a look at my plot. What a difference a bit of sun makes. All the trees are finally back in green, and on this rose here, there's even a flower coming. It's good to feel the sunshine. Here we go. Got my sticks, £5 for 10. This is the plot. Now, some might say it looks a bit worse, but that's because everything is starting to come back into bloom now. Trees are in bloom, the black currants here, not the black currants, the blackberries, but it's a beautiful day today, I must say. Stunning. So this is the original place where I wanted to put the shed, but as you can see, a lot would have to be dug out. So I think I may do what you suggested and put the shed for at least the next year in this section, because this is the flattest where the fire is, and just put it there, and then I can quietly at least get on with the plots then. Because it's better for it to be built than it just to be sat. Maybe even down the bottom, although that looks a good bit for food. This section here looks the flattest, and I don't think will take too much time to clear. Oh, look at that sun, feel it on the skin. Feel like stripping off. See, the valley's coming back into bloom now. Nice to see. Although it is still quite chilly. But I'm not going to stay around. The whole plan was just to come and get these sticks so I can put my beans in the garden. I think I might do French climbing beans rather than runner beans. The last 10 years I've done runner beans, and there's always a string involved, even when I sow the stringless ones or pick them early. So I think I might do my old favourite, the climbing French bean. I think the variety is Hunter. But yes, it'll be a task to get on with any tasks on this plot. You could spend hours just looking at the view. Right, well, I've just had a text message to say my shed will arrive between 10 AM and 5 PM, so it looks like I'm going to be here all day tomorrow anyway. Let's just hope the weather's good. In fact, rather than just sit around, what I will do is I will start to clear this spot for the shed tomorrow. Right, let's head home, and I've got to put the Sunday lunch on, and then maybe, if the weather keeps up, do a bit of gardening in the back garden. It is so much easier just to walk out and to do a bit of gardening. So I've just moved down to this second section just to have a look at how much work is needed. And I don't think it's going to be that much. But I've just realised being here gives me a better vista of the mountain, because one of my favourite parts of the valley is Beltane and the Fairy Falls and the green fields where I've taken you to before. And if the shed is here, I can actually see it from the shed. See, sometimes things work out for the better. it is surprisingly cold. Now, when I was in Torquay the other day, I forgot to tell you, I bought some pots. They were £4.25 each, which seemed an okay price. And I only bought 2 because I didn't know whether they would fit the ledge outside the kitchen here. But as you can see, they're absolutely perfect. So what I may do is put some of the flowers that I bought into the pot. Yes, it's gone strangely cold at the moment. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put I'm definitely not putting my beans in today. But I've got the sticks. And I've got all these waiting for me for when I get around to plant them. Whether I do that today, I don't know. I've been trying to work out what to do with this part here. I may build a sort of shed down the bottom somewhere where I can put a few sticks and things like this. But yes, it was a beautiful morning today. Oh, there are black clouds coming. Apparently for when this shed comes tomorrow, I was told on the allotment site, they think it's going to rain all day, which is unfortunate. But right, let me just sit down and have a cup of tea and just think about what I'm going to do next. So there we have it, that is the shed. Now the task is to move it up the hill to my allotment. I didn't realise that the windows are actually glass rather than plastic, so that's quite good. Well, it started raining just as I began to move the shed, but now it's finally on the top of the allotment and I will put it up another day. It's not going to rain much today, so I don't think it'll be an issue. I'll put it up in the next few days. But I'm feeling thoroughly exhausted. So I think it's time to go home, warm up, and have a nice cup of tea. The rain is really throwing itself down. Now I didn't have any plastic sheeting to put over the top to protect the wood. But then I thought, it's a shed, it's going to be out in the rain anyway, so you would assume the wood has been treated. Well, for the price I would assume that it's been treated. I was surprised that glass turned up. I'm pleased, but I'm just surprised. I can't remember how much I paid for it now, but the price tells me that it would have been a good shed anyway, because I asked for the door to be on a particular side, and not only on a particular side, I wanted it to open. So if this is the shed window, I wanted the door to open that way so I could sit there and look at the view, because the original idea was the shed was open outwards in the left direction, which meant you couldn't see the view. So that's why it was a bit more expensive. But from what I can see, it is a good quality build. Right, that's what I'll do. I made some cowl on Friday. Right, let me just sort my bag out first. I've got a pasty there. And yes, that's all. So let us do a bit of cowl for my dinner. It's nice to come home and to realise that you've got a bit of food ready. So I did this on, let me put this away. I did this on Friday, so it's had a few days to mature, as they say. Let's see if I can put it in there without making a mess. Is that going to be big enough? I don't think that's... Is that going to be big enough? Shall I take a chance? No, it's not. Let me get a bigger one. There we go. Mess up more pans than is needed. Now they do say with cowl, a few days afterwards, it matures. Something else I want to try. I also moved all my plastic utensils down here by the side of the cooker, and it's much easier. So I also want to try some broth. Now, when I was a child, no, not broth, hot pot. Now, from what I remember, and especially if you're from Lancashire, tell me if I'm wrong, it is just layers of potato, and what we had was corned beef. Potatoes, corned beef, potatoes, corned beef, maybe a swede. I can't remember, so I'm going to have to do some research. So I don't know whether that was Lancashire hot pot or whether it was just a made up version here in Wales. So today's dinner is cowl, a pasty and a good old cup of tea. I was just realised it is Tuesday the 30th of April, which is the eve of Beltane, or as they would say in Ireland, Beltane, which is the eve of, it's a pagan festival where you celebrate the end of winter and going into summer, because the next day is then May Day. So we'll have a look at this picture in a few days' time. So the 30th is the eve, a bit like Christmas Eve. I have to watch this cooker because I was shared the other day for about 10 minutes cooking and nothing was coming, and I realised the pan was on the front hob but I'd switched the back hob on. So with that celebration of summer, it's all about having a fire to welcome the heat of summer. A bit hard to believe in this weather, but I have seen that apparently a mini heat wave, as in 18 degrees, is coming for Wales anyway in the next few days. So hopefully I can get the shed sorted, get the shed up, start to paint it, put the roof on and everything and make it look nice and dandy, and then I can spend more time down there. So I don't think the shed will come to any harm if it's just sat out in the rain, because that's what it would do anyway. Because as I was taking the shed up there, I could hear your voices going, oh, that's going to warp when it's out in the rain. I thought, well, it's going to be out in the rain anyway. Right, I'm going to enjoy this. I picked these yesterday. They're daffodils, as you can see, but I love the colours of this one. I can see that the tea towels are about to come out. I can see the tulips are just about coming into flower today. So maybe with this sunshine that we're going to have, the garden will look a riot of colour. So I'm looking forward to getting the shed erected, because I think once that is done, I've then got a base. I can set up a small little kitchen. I can go down for a few hours, and it'd be a lot easier when the rains come. I can go and hide in the shed and things. And I think having the shed will give me a bit of a second wind, because recently I've been a bit despondent about the plot with the state that it's in. But once the shed is there, then I can put some beans up. So the plan is I'm going to paint the front of the shed, probably green, and then put a row of runner beans in front of it and some hanging baskets. And then hopefully the summer will come. Although I was looking on the calendar last night and I thought May the 1st is in a few days. And I turned over and I was like, oh, the summer solstice is the month after, and then it's all downhill to winter. I thought, this year we haven't even started before we're about to finish. Right, my broth looks very, my cowl looks very warm. So I'm going to enjoy this. So, a bit of a short video, because there's not a lot going on. The weather's just not playing ball. What's it like where you are in the world? Tell me below. One thing. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about steps. How many steps do you do on a daily basis? Because I've discovered on my phone there's a feature there. And he said, mention it in the video, because people will be fascinated. And I said, no, they won't. Who talks about steps? And then that evening I went to the theatre, and everywhere I looked, everybody was comparing how many steps they were doing. And according to my phone for yesterday, walking to the allotment and walking back makes me do 12,000 steps a day. So do you keep a track of your steps? Let's have a discussion about that below. Right, I'm going to have my soup now before it gets too hot for me to eat. And I'll catch up with you next time. So from me until then, bye for now.